What is up, guys? Welcome to my first review ever. Thought I'd start it off by going over my most recent product that I got in. I have several IEMs and stuff planned, headphones, amps and stuff in the future, but I figured why not talk about the new upgraded version of the Minirig subwoofer. This is the Minirig 3. And as you can see, I got a thing for Minirigs. I got pretty much a full stereo system right now. Started off with one of them and the subwoofer. Thought I'd give it a shot, see if I liked it, see if it was something for me. Fell in love with it. That stereo option was something I definitely wanted to try out. Love that they were independent speakers that you could move to whatever distance away you wanted to, versus other Bluetooth speakers where they're stuck together. It's one, boxed unit, and you can't pull away those left and right channels. So this was something really attractive to me, in having a nice, powerful system. And that was number two. It was a really powerful system. It's not the cheapest, but in terms of wattage and getting that SPL that you're looking for using outdoors, this was definitely, for its size, compared to those gigantic JBL or Bose or even Beats rigs where there's a carrying handle and everything. Something this size was really attractive to me, that I could just throw in a backpack and go. So this is the new Minirig subwoofer, 3rd gen. This is, I believe, round 4 of shipments. This just got in from UK, ordered directly. I do not believe these are on Amazon, but I will and can link to the subwoofer and Minirig units. They come in a bunch of different colors, so that's really awesome. And we'll start with this guy, the new guy, first, and I can showcase off the other ones that we have and build a system. Already went through the unboxing. I was too excited to get it in. I still have all the material. If you guys want to see an unboxing, I can rebuild it, so you guys can get the experience going. But I figured why not just take a look at it. I was excited to see if there was anything new, but it actually looks just internally just different. Otherwise, exterior, you wouldn't really know the difference. Went with the new color choice. That way I could tell the difference between which one this was, because the new version is about 10 watts, or it is 10 watts more powerful. This one was a 30 watt 3-inch woofer, and now we're at 40 watts. They decided to do that to better match the Minirig 3s. So the normal Minirig speakers, these are not the minis, these are the full-size Minirigs. These are the most powerful ones yet, with the biggest batteries, and they upgraded this guy to this guy to better pair these together. So maybe I'll sell this in the future and get another one of these, but we'll see how it sounds. So first off, you, as always, without paying any extra, you do get the cloth case. It does the job really well. A few stitching, frays and whatnot, you can see right here. The stitching isn't perfect. There's a lot of where the seam isn't brought together really all that well. But for what it is, it does the job perfectly. And the great thing about the subwoofer, which I really love, is on the back side there's a hole, so you never actually have to take it out of here to get to the inputs. So the side with the grill, the front side, and then port on the back towards the grill, you have high gain right there, a 3.5 millimeter input. You have power in the middle, and then lastly right there is the low gain. But there is also the gain setting right here on the power button, which you can toggle through. The dimmer LED light is the low gain, and then the higher brighter LED light is the high gain, and it cycles through a few different colors to indicate its battery life. Starts off on green, then it gets to a bright blue, then a dark blue, and then like a purple, and then red. I can't remember the complete cycle, but 2 pockets on either side, one for the auxiliary cable and one for the charging cable. If you haven't seen the charging cable, it's really neat. Comes with a little DC input, and then you get a piggyback USB cable. So if you were to plug this into your phone charger that only had one USB output, you'd be able to take the your normal phone charging cable out of that and share power. All depends on what kind of charging brick you're using and how many amps. Don't remember what this means. It's got to be a minimum of 1 amp. So we'll slide it out. I'll take out the cable. Cable's really nice. They do not come with these. I put these on all mine, and I haven't even taken off the twist ties yet, but I've already put on my Velcro strap. Just love this. It makes it easier to fit back in. This area has always been kind of tight to fit these cables in. You really have to wrap them up. This is about as large as you're going to get it to fit in that case snugly, but otherwise you're gonna have to go, you know, a little bit more than, or a little bit smaller than that most of the times to fit it in the pocket, which is a little tight because it's rounded, so the opening is going to be smaller than the actual netting space that you do get. But I put these on myself, and what's cool is they do indicate Minirig. Gets the job done. I like that it's low profile, easy enough to fit into phones. There's no step down, but it's slim enough to get into phones with cases and whatnot. It's good. We can see how they come now since I've already done the other cable. I do believe it needs a little bit of straightening out. When, if you ever need to straighten out your cables, best thing to do is lay them out in your patio, backyard, or even better, your driveway. If you can monitor it, maybe when you're washing your car, lay them in an area that won't get wet, and have them on that hot concrete, and they'll kind of bake out there in direct sunlight, and it'll soften up the cores inside, copper cores, and make the silicone insulation a lot more malleable, and it'll work itself out without you having to even run through it. It's really not a good idea most of the time to, depending on the weave, to run through the cable. And as you can see right there, there's like a little jank in that cable. That's part of the braid, and when you pull on that, the sleeve isn't fully, it's just hugging the copper inside. So when you're pulling like that, you a lot of time are moving and stretching the silicone over the copper, which can rub and actually break some of those strands up. And any kind of like back and forth you're doing, it's like a paper clip. It's really thin metal, so the more you keep bending it in opposite directions, the more it's going to lose its flexibility on itself. And you really want to be gentle when you're trying to bend out a cable. The honestly best thing to do is just let gravity do itself. If you can, get some kind of weights that you can tie onto the ends and just let it hang. Like you got a nightstand with like a lamp or something, let it hang, you know, off the nightstand, and just, you know, drape down and let that pull itself straight over time. But yeah, it's okay. This may be the worst one I've gotten out of all the Minirigs. It definitely hasn't come on the other models, but yeah, you can see it's kind of twisted on itself. But otherwise, it's cool that they include it. They're cheap enough to replace, and same goes for this one. This one's in pretty good condition. If you are, I gotta mention it now, if you're wrapping, because it's a little pet peeve of mine, your Velcro with the rough hook side out and not the loop side out. Usually Velcro, these are little hooks, and these are all the little loops. Hook sides out, I gotta say you're doing it wrong. Is there a industry standard? No, there isn't, and it pisses me off that, like, you know, the Tin Hi-Fi labels their cables on the rough side, so if you want the cable to show its logo, you have to do it the opposite way. But a lot of good companies that will do custom printing of their Velcro ties will do the printing on the outside. It doesn't last as long because as it's constantly ripped off of, it'll start pulling that ink off, but it's like that so it doesn't get stuck and collect lint. This can usually get clogged up with lint and stuff like that, preventing it from being able to stick as well as normal. And the other problem is if we do it backwards, I made this one a little too short. These were a little bit longer that I cut. Problem is if you have one way and one the other, they stick together obviously. So that can be a pain in the butt, especially if it gets tied on like clothes. If you're wearing any kind of like polyester material or any of those dry fit shirts, you're gonna get pulls and whatnot if this ever touches it. But these are two cables, and back to the Minirig. Let's see the subwoofer. Nice and form-fitted. Careful. Sometimes it comes with a little bit of exterior scratches. Most of them kind of rub off, I know. A lot of it's due to the inside of the zipper. It can rub against the aluminum. I did have a few scratches during shipment, but I was able to honestly just wipe them right off, and it looks okay. Maybe a little bit of a blemish right there, but get little feet, and there you go. Yeah, 1.5 amps it needs. So it's got little isolation feet, keep it from rolling around, and a little bit of a shock absorbing. Does the job. You can see the port. It's got a really interesting port. It'll continue over here, loop back around, and then back again to where the driver is. This one is by far the shiniest I have. I don't know if it's just this. It's not quite gray. There's a bit of a anodized bronze, I would say, to it. So it's got kind of like a goldeny bronze kind of color. Similar to actually the table here, not at the normal review desk, but works all the same, and we'll turn on for the first time. So this itself is not the Bluetooth speaker. You can't connect to this wirelessly. When using the subwoofers, you have to grab the power from the Minirigs themselves. These guys are the ones that are Bluetooth, so you can be, you know, partial wired and wireless. Your phone connection can be wireless, but then you will have to connect to this, and that's why there's the two gain settings. Fortunately, you can't adjust the bass, and what I do recommend doing is, well, we might as well bring it out now. Let's get the other one. Is I have wrong way. You see some of the this guy's been used a lot more. A little bit of a surface rust, kind of. Yeah, wipes right off. That's due to the actual, what are those, zinc? Where's the camera? You can see there's a little bit of rust from this being outside and whatnot. But here's where I keep my other cable. This one's got a volume wheel on it. So what I can do is wire this up from Minirig to Minirig Sub, and I can adjust the volume. So I'll leave it always in high gain, and then just adjust the sub bass as I need, and it works really well. So we'll get this to the side. Cloth cables aren't supposed to tangle. Some of them are, not all. By the way, another food for thought, since this is my first video. When wrapping a cable, it's always over, under until you finish. The reason for that is because you want to make it like an accordion. So when you grab your ends, it'll come out straight and not telephone cable. It's really painful to see a lot of reviewers out there, and people, when they wrap their cables, they grab onto it and they over their hand, over their hand, over their hand. See, it's already kinking up on me. Over its hand, over the hand, same way, clockwise or counter the entire way. Telephone cables, cords, whatever you want to call it, and that causes all these janky kinks in it that you really can't pull out, so you end up having to retwist it. This works the proper method, the over, under method, works really well. Back to our other sub. This one's got this is definitely a smoother finish, much more of a brushed satin aluminum finish. The black one's got more of a texturedized coat. It reminds me of like a tough liner, like a not grippy bed liner, but otherwise still really cool. Lighter? I'll have to check to see if they're lighter. Can't quite tell. I want to say the new one's a little bit lighter. Wow. Let's see if we can see that in the light. Well, already a new difference is the grill is perforated dots on the black one, and we're looking at are those hexagons? Hexagons, yeah. 6-sided little hexagon perforations, so that's cool. They changed that up. It's making it a lot harder to see the driver in there, but especially through the camera, I would fair to say they look identical. Big, huge surround. This thing definitely moves air, and the ports are identical as well. All right. See if anything changed on the back. So this one takes a lot more input. We can see that we go from 900 milliamps to 1500 milliamps, and output's the same. No. Yeah, output's the same for both units, but this one's the 900 cross board in and out, and this one's 1500. Well, that's cool. Same plugs. This one definitely seems lighter. Same plugs. We'll leave that guy over here. And let's start hooking this up and see what it sounds like. I usually just play with these guys in their cases at all times, but because of the convenience of traveling. Set that guy up here. There. There. And which one is you? Red. Okay. And blue. So now I'm curious. Yeah, okay, I guess I was used to that. I do remember the hexagons being a thing, but never noticed until now that the subwoofer was different. In case you didn't know, they all come with the same thing. It's just these ones only have a top opening, not a bottom zipper, so you end up with only one place to store your cables. So it's a little tighter than I wish. it gets the job done. I don't think I'd asked for them to give me a second compartment and or make it taller. There's a little bit of padding to these, same bit of padding all around, and it is all around, which is nice except for the seams, but it's okay. It's okay. These are pretty rock solid grills, and I think the cable would not fare as well as the grills would if they ever got crushed in their case. But that's blue. You can stay there. Okay. Let's get this hooked up. These sound on a mini rig, if you haven't heard it before, is really cool because they're not coaxial. It's just a woofer, a single woofer that does the job of all frequencies. They're warm. They're definitely not as bright if you're looking for, immense amount of crisp, trebly detail, but it gets the job done very well and is honestly, I think, ridiculously better than what's out there in the market as far as offerings go. This was blue, this was red. The really cool thing about having mini rigs, honestly, is just sometimes just picking them up like this, good, like arm's length away from your head, getting them nicely spaced out, maybe like 45 and 45 from each other, degrees from your head, and it's so crazy how you have that just invisible, phantom speaker paradox of just someone and all the music just happening right in front of you, and there's these guys just off to the side. It's really cool. You don't often get to, unless you have, stereo Bluetooth speakers, and there's not too many options, and definitely not too many that do them as well as the Minirig does. But if you do get that option to do that, it is really kind of entertaining to just sit there and just move all the speakers around and play with them. So I charged this during the day, so that's why we're green here, and we can see, make sure there's enough shadow so you can see that. So it just went dim, so now it's on low gain, and we'll bring it back up, and now it got brighter again, so now it's on high gain. So we'll leave it on that, and I did this backwards, or I forgot my cable. You will come out. It automatically, if you don't know, because there is a power button, it is that same button, you just have to press and hold. But it automatically detects the jack and turns on. So we use red. I got blue first and red second, actually. Okay. And where are we at? Okay, we'll get this plugged into the phone. You know what? I can't. We're gonna only be able to test these guys first. I just realized you have to Bluetooth wirelessly connect to them if you plan to jump out to a subwoofer. I wonder if a splitter would work. It might probably lower the signal a little bit, but that'd be cool, because right now I have an issue of not being able to make an input happen, because either one of these can be an input and either one can be an output. It'll figure the job out. I always like to do the input on the top and output on the bottom, so we're doing output to sub. Problem is, and I guess I should find out since I'm reviewing this, I don't know if these are both outputs. As far as I've ever known, these are both just either a low gain input or a high gain input, even though for some reason there's a button to do the job for you. Well, we can find out today, but for right now, let's just go phone, one Minirig, mono, and out into the new subwoofer. What's the setting on that? Okay, that's on high gain too. We'll just high gain everything. Eats obviously more battery, but, and we're obviously working. So let's pick up some copyright-free music off of YouTube. Let's see. What should we do? I like a good sunset and palm trees. Let's give it a shot. Okay. No subwoofer right now. Let's get yourself adjusted to the sound of this guy. I'll point it towards you. Subwoofer. Nothing really right now. Let's see what happens. It's nice. It's gonna be really hard to judge against the other guy. Let's give it a shot right now. That 10 watts is probably gonna be really hard to judge, but if it comes out hard to tell through YouTube what this sounds like, it just really well rounds out and accompanies the Minirig a lot better. I can't remember what the lowest these guys go down to. I'm gonna say, I don't know, 80. Let's see. I'm on their site right now. Speakers, Minirig 3. There we go. All right, let's see. I can't remember what the frequency response was on these guys. It's here somewhere. 100 hours of battery life. 70 millimeter driver. You can charge your phone right from that with that piggyback cable. That's really cool. I think I forgot that it can do that. I always go around with a, well actually I'm on it right now for the review, but I always got a portable battery charger, so I'm never not. Honestly, I have one for every single Minirig. I have 1,000 of them. Okay, I'm lying, not 1,000, but the app has a 5-band EQ, which I love. I think that's so cool. 40 watts. So okay, so yeah, they're really just trying to match the same wattage here. I never felt like the subwoofer, 30-watt subwoofer, ever got drowned out by these guys indoor. And when this guy's, you know, a couple inches from a wall, this is stupid. This is honestly freaking stupid. I can't even begin to describe the amount of bass you get out of these this guy when properly placed and indoors. So it's interesting to see that they went for that 10 watts just to round it out a little bit more. But as we were talking about this man, 60 hertz. Okay, that's really great. It's down to 60 hertz. That's not bad at all. And up to 18. So yeah, I'm sure if they made a coaxial tweeter, they'd be able to get, you know, well past 20K with that. I'd be interested to what to do with the sound, since, you know, they kind of just sit up. They do in fact sit straight on. They kind of use the contact, or the jacks and connectors to kind of balance themselves. I've literally put these in my car and had them sitting in the swell up at the top where you can throw pens and stuff, just above the radio and center console, and because it sounds so much more better than the sound system in the work vehicle. Actually, not my personal car, but it's amazing how loud these things get, and it's fun. Yeah, it did want to roll around a little bit. Obviously, it's a, you know, it's a cylinder, it's like a, you know, can, so you got to kind of play with it. Every now and then I have like usually like a little towel, whatnot, in my backpack that I carry these guys in, and, you know, you can get it to prop up a little bit, get the right angle you want, but truthfully, when I'm working and I'm listening to these, they're just facing straight up, and they are just washing the area around you. So 30 hours on max battery, or 7 hours on max battery life, 30 rated on average, and 100 on low. So that's going to matter on that gain setting. But now we know it's 60, it's 18K. So let's go ahead and check that subwoofer out right now. I don't believe the frequency changed, even though, yeah, see, now they're talking about how the round 4 is on sale, limited stock, and it is out of stock. So this comes out to like $150+ and change, converted for US. There's that awesome port. So that's what the inside looks like. That's, yeah, I really like how they did that picture. So woofer port opens up here, continues back, snakes, comes back down a little bit more towards the center, and then finishes on the bottom down here, and curves right back up into that port opening. And we are 80 hours, 74 millimeter, so 4 millimeter bigger than this, and 40 watts now, with 48 to 120 hertz. So really just well rounds that, you know, punchy upper sub and sub bass, and then that lower excursion sub bass. Honestly, if it did right up to 50, that'd be great. So 48, you know, 2 difference, whatever. That's really all you need. Like I said, we were gonna go check and see how this one compares. I don't think there's going to be too much of a discerning difference, so I'm kind of glad, because I can always just I usually almost always outdoor listen to the subwoofer with max volume. I never usually take too much away from it, but what I could do is just lower it down on this guy to more evenly match what this guy's handling, if I need it more balanced, or just put this one in the less optimal spot, and this one in the more favored spot, and they should balance out pretty good. Let's go ahead and give a listen. Are we plugged in? We are plugged in. Cool. And we are on max gain. Yeah. Let's go back to that. Back to the original song. Truthfully, now it has been a little bit of a while since I listened to this. I haven't had this guy out in a while, and I think I do actually notice a difference now. I didn't think it'd be that easy to hear. off. Yeah. Okay, so this is actually a really great improvement. I wasn't expecting to, you know, seemed like it was going to be kind of diminished returns, but you know, I really actually applaud Minirig. They solved an issue that I actually didn't have too much of an issue with. I always thought this was totally fine, but you know, moving forward with the Minirig 3s and it being, you know, upgraded over the 2s, they, you know, wanted to make sure the subwoofer was in line, and yeah, this kind of just lets itself be more present in the room. It just kind of like raised its hand a little bit higher, you know, to say, you know, whatever you can. It's tough to judge a modular system. It's going to vary so much, you know, based on, you know, where you set it up, you know, it being portable and all. But you know, right here on the desk, you could tell it had that 10 watts extra that it needed to kind of raise up in line with this guy, where this guy just does it, and it's so hard to pick up that I don't think it's going to come through YouTube all that well when I upload this. But this isn't really the right song to check for it either. Where it's like, hey, you want sub? I got you. This one's just like, I'll do you one better. That's really all it is. It's as simple as that. And I even think their explanation was really simple for it too, if I remember correctly. Let's go back to Minirig's site, and we quote, "Everyone loves bass. We decided to take the subwoofer to the next step. Rather than the old 30 watt powers, it now has 40 watts of power. This ultimately gives you a cleaner low that matches the new Minirig 3. I mean, yeah, that's to the T really what you're getting here. I do not think the price changed at all. If anything, was it like 134 before? I don't know. If you don't own a Minirig 3 series and have always wanted to get one, and without a doubt, get it with the damn sub. It is amazing. Now, if this is too big for you and or too expensive, very, very much do I highly recommend the Minirig. It doesn't have the same frequency response. It does not get as low as this one, but that is okay because you have the subwoofer. So you get a handheld. I mean, this is not quite a handheld, really. It is, but it does fit in your palm without. Well, no, my Minirig does actually creep over. It does fit in your palm enough to be still palm size. I mean, for what it is, it's freaking phenomenal how you know what they pack into this thing: battery, Bluetooth, chip, woofer, and all, and it sound the way it does. But if you want even more portable, cheaper, smaller, whatever it is, doesn't have the same battery life, and doesn't have quite the same frequency response, a little bit lower, but that's okay. This is about the subwoofer, and this accompanies this system so freaking well. And then this just fills in those lows that this has a hard time doing. Overall, this is still an awesome buy, and if you're hesitant in this, because it is going to be quite an investment. You know, this is going to be in US dollars over $150, and are these cheaper? No, they're the same price. So these are going to be the same price. So every one of these is going to be over a little bit over $150. So this is going to be a lot. This is $600 right here. But what you can do is buy one and buy just this first. Enjoy it really, truly enjoy it. And then when you're ready for that bass, or if you're a bass head, get the bundle. I think you save like 20 bucks, 10, 20 bucks or something. I'm not sure if they do coupon codes. Hey, since I'm reviewing this Minirig, send me a coupon code so I can send to all my viewers. Get just this. Go mono. If you're an audiophile, you're gonna hate it. No one ever wants to listen to mono unless it's like some Beatles recording and whatnot. But just to get that flavor of it, you know, before going for either this setup or the whole damn thing that I have here. I actually do plan on working with a family friend, and who does a lot of woodworking, and I want to create some kind of little boombox for this. I have a few designs I've been thinking about. Some increasing the porting of the subwoofer even more, but for version 1, I'm just gonna make it the box a whole pass through, so this can breathe, and it'll be a boombox this size, just so the port can breathe out the back, and not touch with any of the tuning at all. And I'll figure out how to get it all pre-wired, because it can take kind of a bit of time to wire these all up. You're not supposed to, they say you're not supposed to leave these charged and sitting on power. You definitely want to exercise the battery, as with you know, even your cell phone. You should be letting your cell phone drop down to, you know, below 10% before you start charging it, to have that battery exercise its full charge and discharge. But I would like to make another video of these on my desk setup and get these hooked up to my DAC. But as for the new sub, well done Minirig. This is actually surprisingly more of an improvement than I thought it was going to be. Definitely an upgrade. Well done. Definitely probably would end up, I guess, selling this and getting a matching one. But also, you know, can't go wrong with these. I guess this kind of came into a full Minirig review, just highlighting and commenting on the new one. But this is the Minirigs, and always made in Bristol, UK. Hey, awesome. Well done, guys. And that's it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed this and got a good overview. If there's something you thought I left out or like me to focus on more about, let me know. I can always do a revision of this, and or just, you know, keep in mind for the next one what you guys would like to hear more. But that's that, and I'll see you on the next one. All right, have a good night. Take care, guys.